Hello, Anders. Thanks for taking the time to participate in our series, Out of Adversity Comes the Hybrid Opportunity. We're exploring DECT technology's unique ability to deliver solutions for teamwork and collaboration, and how products using DECT have played their part in responding to the pandemic. Then we're looking towards the post-COVID future. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Then, for Jabra, how did the pandemic impact work modes, and what was the impact to the headset market?
Great, thank you, Vincent. Thank you for those questions. So my name is Anders Velblom. I'm from Jabra, and I'm responsible for what we call our call-centric business. And that includes all of our DECT headsets. And we've been using DECT technology, wireless technology in our headsets for many, many years. And we are still very, very excited about that technology. So the pandemic changed many things. First and foremost, the demand for headsets went up exponentially. And I think that this is not a new phenomenon. It's been written and spoken about a lot. But obviously the usage of Teams and Zoom and other clients to replace the one-to-one interactions in the workplace really, really changed the game. And that lifted the demand for headsets. But it also changed the role for headsets. So if you looked at our marketing for why, DECT wireless headsets before the pandemic, some of the things we were really focused on at the time were the density benefits of DECT, that you could bring more users into the same environment and without cluttering the channels compared to Bluetooth. And then all of a sudden, especially when the pandemic was at its peak, had absolutely no relevance. But what we were then starting to find was that the DECT technology still had a lot of benefits that users were appreciating in new ways. So when working from home, all of a sudden I think the biggest selling point for DECT became the range of the devices. So the ability to go, from your home office or your bedroom or wherever you're working out of to your kitchen, making a coffee, walking around the house, maybe even go outside and sit in the garden while still being in the call, all of a sudden turned out to be a great advantage. So it greatly lifted the demand for headsets in general, and the demand is still very, very high. And it changed sort of the main selling points of DECT, I think, as the two sort of key changes.
And what were traditionally the most important benefits of DECT compared to Bluetooth, and how has this changed because of the new work modes the pandemic gave rise to?
Yeah, so as I was getting into, the density was definitely the big selling point before. A lot of companies, when it comes to headsets, are just operating in environments where they have too many workers on the same floor. And that inhibits Bluetooth or prevents Bluetooth to really work. So they're looking for something where they can cram more devices, wireless devices, into a certain setting. And that DECT is massively helpful. So that was probably the most important selling point. But I should also emphasize that the selling points of range that became arguably actually more important in the pandemic life, and also the selling point of security as compared to Bluetooth, have also been really, really big selling points for DECT, and something that continues to be incredibly important. The security point probably also was emphasized or strengthened in the pandemic, where IT in general were losing control with the work environment of the workers. So now sort of having that comfort that they have military-grade security on the wireless connection wherever their workers were taking calls from, and gave them some extra comfort. And it's fair to say that the demand for DECT headsets have never been higher than today. So the net effect definitely is that this technology is still extremely relevant.
And what do we expect about changes to future working modes post the pandemic, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hybrid. I think that's what most people think. And many people will spend a few days a week at home and a few days a week in the office. So some of the benefits of DECT that we traditionally were had as important selling points, like the density, are already coming back. So there was a period of time where that was almost not even worth to discuss with customers because it wasn't, where their minds were at all. To now, where we start to see more and more companies, some even mandating return to the office. The US president was out recently and asking basically employees to come back to the cities, come back to the offices. So we're starting to see that come back. And I think now people have also realized that DECT is a really great technology at home. So I think the net effect of that, when we look forward, is actually that people see a greater relevance of DECT, because I think before it was thought of mostly as something you were using in the office, not so much when you're working from home. Working from home, you're maybe using a corded or Bluetooth headset. But all of a sudden, this is now becoming more relevant to use DECT both at home and in the office.
Okay, well, given this future outlook on work modes, what do you think the future looks like for DECT, and is Jabra thinking that there are any directions that DECT could go in?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the future for DECT is bright, and I think one of the key things is that now that the work mode is hybrid, and now that people want to use DECT technology at home and in the office, it does imply that portability of devices is increasingly important. So our traditional DECT devices mainly were designed in such a way that you had a stand where the headset was situated that had the radio in it, and that was, of course, is not the most portable solution to both move a headset and a stand between home and office, for instance. So it's not really ideal for portable. So one of the things we're launching this year is a DECT dongle, so a headset with a dongle, basically. So it's easy to transport the headset and use it on the go. You can also use it in the airport if you use a PC to take calls. We're also looking into or having early considerations, you could say, about combining radios, combining Bluetooth and DECT, because people are working in a more diverse, more hybrid way, and the mobile phone is playing a bigger and bigger role. So I think sort of coexisting with Bluetooth is probably also going to be a more and more used scenario. It could also help in those cases where the density requirements are so high that not even DECT can support it. Then having an opportunity to change between the different radios could offer an advantage. And in general, I think what we would love to see out of DECT technology would be further improvements in density. So you could solve more problems. We still have cases today where using even DECT is not sufficient. You have to go to corded devices. I think that would be a really, really good thing to see. And of course, I would say the general direction of headsets are that they're doing more and more things, and they're using more and more compute power. So also the ability to do more compute is something that we would be excited to see more of in the future.
Well, that's fascinating insight. Thanks very much for your time again, Anders. And I wish you a good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Vince. Thanks for the interview. It was a pleasure.